Yeah. All right. So now I am Vanessa Reiser. This is Vanessa Moretto. And
Hi.
I thought we'd just talk about love bombing today. I really didn't know. This is so impromptu. I just thought we'd kind of talk about whatever. But I thought if we're going to start to talk about, I'm going to close this window. Sorry. If we start to talk about that as like a topic, it would make sense because it's one of the first things that a narcissist would do to kind of reel you in. So things like the long CVS receipt text message, which is the classic, like, oh, I'm crying, love you, I've been waiting for you my whole life videos. Yes. So what has your experience been? Who like what did you get? What kind of text messages did you get?
I get the whole like, oh, like you said, my soulmate. Oh my God, I've been waiting for you my whole life. Thank you for coming into my life. You're the best thing that ever existed, and I can't believe my life without you. And I went this whole time, and I want to thank my ex for, setting me free so I could meet someone like you.
You got that? Oh shit.
Oh, I did twice.
Really?
From two different people.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think I got something similar. I think I got, I want to thank your ex. I got that one.
That too. That one too. I just think it's maybe part of a rule book. We got to get that book.
Well, we're going to write that fucking book.
I know.
What else? They do the whole gifts, giving, trips.
Just everything. They actually like bombard you with everything. So,
yeah.
They put you on this pedestal that you're the most amazing creature that walked on the face of the earth. There's nothing wrong with you. I can't find anything wrong with you. And meanwhile, you're sitting there and you're like, wait a minute. I mean, I'm not perfect. No, I'm not perfect. But they're the first one to say to you, oh, you think you're perfect.
Right.
So it's like they build you up with all this stuff, telling you that you're the most amazing creature that ever walked the face of the earth. And then the next thing you know, it's like, they fell off the face of the earth. Where were they for a day? I hadn't heard from them. There's always an excuse, oh, you think you're perfect. Everything's your fault. Like it goes from one extreme to another. So it's like, kind of like taken back a bit.
Yeah. It's super, like pathetic to think that I feel like that I fell for it in some ways.
Yeah.
And yet it was hard to not. It was like the most seemingly sincere line of horseshit you could ever imagine. It's like the greatest tale. Like it was just a tale. It was not, there was nothing there. It's like a full void, but it was heavy. I got text messages. I know we've talked about this, but I got text messages that were like, I'm going to give you $250,000. You're never going to have to work again. I'm going to take care of your son. I know, we've talked about our mutual friend getting messages, being love bombed. And it was like the same thing. I'm going to take care of your kids. I want to get married. I want to have a baby. I want to, let's get a house, mutual bank account, like really fast, really heavy. You're just like, wow, this is like Prince Charming. That's what it feels like.
It also becomes overwhelming sometimes. Like I remember feeling very overwhelmed, like trying to keep my head above water, like keeping up with everything that was happening and what was going on. So it was like all these emotions are coming, but they're coming like at an abnormal speed. So you're now experiencing all this stuff so quickly. So for me, I always think of a red flag is if I feel like I can't have to keep my head above water and I have to like kind of like stay alive. I feel like that to me is like a warning sign. Like, okay, this is not normal because you shouldn't feel that way. Like it should be natural. It should come as it's supposed to come with like a natural progression.
Yeah.
So I feel like, even the love bombing of like the calling and texting 24 hours a day, like, and if, you know, people work, like, I have a job. I mean, I can't always pick up the phone. I can't always respond to you right away. I mean, it just, you know, and then, well, I left the most important meeting for you. Like, I just got up and left. And I'm like, I didn't expect you to do that. Like, it's business. Like, you doing something, you call me back when you're done. Like, so it's just kind of like all these things that when things don't make sense to you, they're probably not right. I feel like we always make excuses and kind of think like, oh, I'm overthinking it. Oh, you know, maybe they do really mean all this, or maybe they really like this really is real, or oh, but you know, we just make excuses for it.
Yeah. I remember also like it sort of quickly gets interrelated with boundaries, because I remember in the middle of session with clients, and I would actually walk out of session because I would have to babysit this motherfucker's feelings. And it was like, I would literally be in the Bronx and I'd be like, I have to take this call. I'll be right. And it's like, what? I can't believe I did that. And I'd walk into the hallway, you know, there's roaches everywhere and like whatever, crack pipes. And I'm like, yeah, what's going on? Oh, you have to babysit your tender little feelings? Oh my God. Okay. How are your tender little feelings? Like, and meanwhile, I got real issues. Like, you know, the woman was lost her custody of her kids or whatever. And I got to babysit this grown man's fucking infantile feelings. Like, this is insane. And I did it. And it's like the boundaries, like they would just come like so hard, like, no, and you have to pay them back. You owe them something.
And you also second guess the way you feel. So like when something happens, you normally feel like, okay, something isn't right. And you step back and you're like, oh, like again, the excuses, like, you know, you don't realize it until you're really out of it. Mm-hmm. And you look back on it and you kind of look at everything that transpired and the things that led up to certain things. And, you know, that's why I always say like no context is the most important. And I've always said that when people are trying to get away from a toxic situation, because when you're away from it and you're out of it and you're not submerged in it, you don't have more haze coming into your normal, like your way of being, like your values, your morals, the way you think, the way you are. It's more like it's not getting clouded on a daily basis. So it's more like now that those clouds that person was, that confusion and that craziness that they were putting into your mind, you kind of can see it a little bit clearer because you're not like in it. Like I feel like when you're in it, it's harder to identify with it. Mm-hmm. But when you're standing on the outside of it, you can you can kind of see it a little clearer. I mean, not like you see the whole picture, but you can, like, you kind of start saying like, yeah, you know what, that doesn't make sense. That isn't right. So I just feel like that's something that's important because they're good at what they do. And when you're around them, they just, you know, if you allow them, they will pull you right back in. Texts, phone calls, pictures. Oh, this song reminds me of you. You know, these little things here and there. And then you kind of like, you're getting all nostalgic and you're thinking, oh, you know, we did have good times. Like maybe we could work this out. And yeah, we know how that works out.
Yeah, wicked manipulative. So like, I remember the love bombing included trips. Like there were trips to Miami with 3 Rolls Royces. But the reason why we laugh is because Vanessa and I dated the same motherfucker. And that was like the, you know, his playbook. But in that trip giving was the manipulation. So what it did was it like robbed me of my identity, because we've talked about this, but I used to ride my bike every Saturday, and I rode my bike in a lot of ways like I do everything, probably just to feed my eating disorder. So I could drink and not be a fat fuck. But it was a big part of like, and I love to just run and be outside. And so when it's like biking season, I mean, I have a very expensive racing bike, and like even just the sound of the tires, like it's like heaven. Like,
but that's a passion, I feel, for you. Like I don't think it has to do with anything like that. What you've been like, I think that's your passion. Like you love to run. Like I've heard you talk about it. Like anytime anytime I think about like a passionate thing for you, like I'll always say like, oh, your hookahs, or like, you know, because you run, that's something that you love. So it's,
Yeah, it's like it was weird because in his love bombing of the gifts, and it was like manipulative, because then all of a sudden I forgot who I was because I was being whisked away. And how do you say no to all of these fancy excursions? And so it was like a year before I rode my bike, and I was robbed of who I was. And it was like I woke up and I was like, oh my God, like, where am I? Who am I? It was really destabilizing, actually. And so the narcissist, the malignant narcissist who has major money as a resource, and charm, and that coupled together is a very dangerous combination. And I can speak to that. It was like hard for me to, get away from.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's, you know what it is? It's you meet somebody, and this is, I've said it, I've posted it, I say it all the time. Like, just because it's fun doesn't mean it's not toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And when you meet these people, they're just so much fun. You're like, oh my, like somebody who has like the everyday, you go to work, you raise your children, you pay your bills, you do your thing, you go on a trip maybe once or twice a year, like the common everyday lifestyle. And then you meet somebody and they're whisking you up, like, up last minute, like, up, let's go here, let's do this. And you're kind of like, well, I can get the time off, and oh, I can do this. And you're thinking of as from a responsible and like, logical way. And you're like, oh, wow, like instead of me going away, twice a year, like I normally would go, I'm going 5 or 6 times, or on the weekends, like last minute, like little here or there, or get in the car and just do a road trip, like whatever it is, it's out of our norm. So what,
Mm-hmm.
we find it like kind of exciting when we get lost. We think this is, oh my God, like he, in my case, like, oh, he loves me, like he wants to spend time with me, we're doing all these great things, like we're building this relationship, we're building a foundation. And you just get, wrapped up in that connection, like the connection you're making, the relationship you're building, and you're doing it all on your own. So I always say to people, do you realize how fun you can be all by yourself?
Because
Because that's what you're doing.
you've
Like
been by
that's
yourself
you.
forever.
Yeah, you've been
Yeah.
alone.
What are some other love bombing things? So besides trips, I know there's a lot of gift giving.
I think the
Like,
gift giving, from what I see, and I think this is where you can tell the difference between, like when I look back on my experience, like I know when I want to give a gift to someone, I try to pay attention to what they say throughout the year, or I, know what they like, or I pay attention when someone's like, oh, my perfume's running out, I got to get a new one. Like their birthday's in like a week, like, or gift, like it's something that they don't have to go out and do, and they'll appreciate it because it's something they like. I don't go to the store and go, oh, well, you know what? I love this painting, and I'm just going to buy it for this person and give it to them,
right.
because it may not mean anything to them. So
That's right.
I noticed that in the love bombing, what they do is they just throw anything they can get their hands on, or they can find, or what they think is the biggest gift they can find, or like, material, like handbags and shoes, and like, oh, I'll put an addition on your hat. Like it's just like, you're just like, whoa. And sometimes like I would catch myself and be like, whoa, slow down, like this is too
Wait,
quick.
did somebody put an addition on your house?
No, but
Did somebody do your patio?
nobody did anything. They all
Oh,
talk.
okay.
No, they don't do it. They don't. They say they're going to do all this stuff. Again, they're all, listen, I look at it this way. When I love and care about somebody and I can actually do something for them, I'm going to do it.
So what I'm hearing you say is we need to go over and do your patio. So if anyone's listening and they want to just donate their time and stone and masonry work to V2, we're going to need some patio assistance straight away. That's what I'm hearing.
Patio, this is,
I'm going to need some patio. I've put some pavers in the grass. And so I feel like if anybody even wants to donate pavers and some time, little elbow grease, get over there and fucking rock it out. You know what I'm saying?
You got the two of us to help. We'll be there.
Yeah, we'll just look cute, feed you beers, and point and laugh at you as you provide manual labor and favors. Yeah, so I think those gifts are, you're right. Like they're not, sometimes there'll be something very sentimental because they're peppered in there. And then there's like the superficial shit that nobody
Right.
really gives a shit about. I feel
Right.
like it's both,
Yeah, but
right?
I feel like it's more stuff that like that is kind of like what they want to do. Is I feel like, and it's they don't care about what your feelings are. Even when they ask you, I've had people ask me, "Oh, do you like? How do you want me to do this?" And I tell them, and they do the complete opposite. So I'm kind of like, to me, I'm like annoyed. Like, why would you even ask me? And I feel like it's like whatever they feel should be, they're just going to do it. And they just expect you to just be happy with it. Like, like you have no say. Your feelings, what you like, what would rather the situation be, doesn't matter. It's going to be their gifts and their time and the way they want to spend their time. And, you just never change. Like, just sit there and just do their little playbook is pretty much what it comes down to.
So you better live up to the fantasy or you'll be punished. So if you don't appreciate flowers,
Punish.
you're ungrateful. I remember getting flowers and like, I actually don't really like getting flowers because they smell like a funeral home and I get very triggered by it. But I always sound like a wicked bitch when I say that. But I get it. So I know what the pomp and circumstance looks like. Like, thank you. I know how to do it.
Right.
But like, there's a little voice that's like over here that's like, you hate flowers. And I'm like, I know, but we can't tell everybody. Like, no, but really, you should probably just be yourself. It's like, are you kidding? Like, everyone's going to judge us. They're all going to be like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I hate the smell of it. And I feel like it makes me a little crazy because then I know I sound crazy. And I'm like, please don't get me flowers. And it's like, but the narcissist will literally like sniff out that like you ungrateful bitch moment and be like, perfect. Thank you. Just laid up the perfect, because who the fuck doesn't want to get flowers kind of thing.
Right. Well, and then when they want to get mad at you and blame you for everything, it's like, I get you flowers every week. And they list all this stuff that you don't even, and I remember sitting there and I'm like, all that stuff you just mentioned, like that's all nice and thank you so much for doing it, but it's not necessary. Like those things to me, like I'd rather have like a healthy conversation and be able to work through what we're going through rather than getting flowers every week. Or, I heard I got you this house, I got you these cars, like great, the house and cars. I was happier when we rented, like why, like, so it's
what I want? I want to hug a man that's hugging me back. The last time there was actually a creature in my arms that was actually like a human being and not like Lucifer was 2009. If I'm lucky, I don't even know, who the fuck knows if that's, but you know what I mean? Like, I remember like hugging my narcissist and being like, thinking there was a creature there. And now looking back, it's like,
nobody was there.
I was hugging I might as well just be like,
you're hugging yourself. Did you have a good time by yourself? Because you're a good time, right? That's how I feel. I look at it all the time. I'm like, you know what? I had so much fun. I am a blast.
Yeah. You are. You really actually are.
I mean,
and I am too. You're absolutely 100%. Right.
But you don't realize it until, when I started saying that. I think the first time I ever said it was to you. I was like, can you believe like how much fun you are? Like, imagine like all that time you were in a relationship by yourself. Like all that fun you had, like it was all you.
It's so true.
Crazy.
I remember running the streets of St. Bart's the weekend. I'm not even go there. I remember running the streets of St. Bart's And I remember locating my uncle's house, and it was so cool because I hadn't been there since I was like 10 or 11. And I could see like the Doherty, because St. Bart's is a tiny
Right.
island, very, very small.
So
You can
beautiful there.
the whole thing. So I see like, and I hadn't been there, and I just went for a run, and I saw the sign, and I was like, oh my God. So running up the fucking little thing, and it was like a fantasy, and it was like so cool, and it was so wonderful to like kind of be, reflecting and like thinking about whatever, and the smells and the sights, and just it was like really, really cool. And yeah, it was cool doing that alone.
Right? It's great. It's just, I mean, once you realize that you just need to remove them out of the story, it's pretty much really what you were experiencing.
The motherfucker was arguing with me so much that actually in St. Bart's, I had breakfast with a cat a few times, just a random St. Bart's cat, totally alone, because I was always in trouble.
You're always totally alone.
Yeah, right.
That time you actually had company.
Yeah, right. I finally had a breakfast date.
You thought you were alone then, but you were actually really with like energy, like
the first time
that's actually there.
Yeah, a cat. Oh my God, that's so funny. I have a picture of that cat. I should go back and find that cat and be like, hey, buddy, you're my only friend.
Thanks for making my trip in St. Bart so amazing.
Yes. So love bombing. What else do they do? I think the crying, that kind of like, it's a gift that they give you, sort of.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one.
Good at it.
How about the family? Let's meet the family. We're gonna love bomb the whole family.
Friends and family, anyone around.
You have. I know that you were. That the narcissist did meet some of the family.
Yep.
I don't know who we can reference, and so I have to be very mindful. But so insulating family, sort of buying.
100%. Yeah, the things of to my daughter, like, oh, this summer you can come work here and you could do that, and it's always like everything's so grand and everything's like they got everything, like everything's under control. I'm gonna do this for you, I'm gonna do that for you, I'm taking care of everyone, and and the crying, like you said, that Academy Award, I mean, honestly, like I've seen some performances that are just out of this world, and not even just from one person. So it's amazing. Like they could sit there and act like it's not the same without you, and like this and all this nonsense, and getting all teared and choked up, or the ones that are bawling their eyes out. I love you. Please talk to me. I'm like, what? Wow. I mean, I'm talking Academy Awards. Like, I think we should put them all up on the stage and see who gets the best one. I wish I had them all on video.
Well, the one that shall remain nameless may win an Emmy.
Also,
that's going to be on television. But yeah, that's going to be a lot of work, because the love bombing is going to include, the entire world. So you has to love bomb now a wider scope, and that's going to be really challenging. But yeah, the idea of the fake tears, the gifts, the trips, the promises, the text messages, the songs, like sexy songs.
The songs. I forgot about that one. Sending you the songs throughout the day. Like, they just drop it, and like you listen to it and you're like, oh my God, they think that about me. Like, oh my God, that's like, I mean, I always, yeah. Okay, next. Songs now mean nothing except after the fact.
That was a big one. I got a lot of John Legend. Did you get John Legend?
I got some John Legends, random stuff from I get like a bunch of different things. But now, like we say now, like now you listen to the music, like that song we listened to, Deja Vu.
Oh
That
my
is
God, I just
exactly
found out.
that's exactly what we're talking about right now. Because it's like,
That's what I was looking at my phone before because I was trying to get it on for background music. Um,
that is perfect for here. Because,
I love it. I
I
couldn't
always,
believe I sent that to Paula, and she was like, "Holy shit," and a few others.
I mean,
Um,
honestly, that song, whoever wrote that song definitely was in a relationship with a narcissist, because that song sums it up in a nutshell. And that's why I always tell people who are going through like that separation, that they're partners with somebody else, like, what they're doing. They're doing the same exact thing that you did with them. So, and that song is so spot on. I mean, it's like perfect. I mean, you
wait,
can't even.
right now. She has 7 million followers on Instagram.
This song's amazing.
It's fucking great. Great.
Yep.
But
But
yeah,
they're
so the
definitely, but I just like to answer her. They're definitely not telling the person that they're with that they did all the same things. They
no,
make it look like, look at this, it's so new. Look at this place. Look at what I found. You're like, okay, great. And then
I think I
you
told
find
you
out.
when I moved. I gotta be careful. It's like treading. I found a picture of, when you could capture like this where the stars were. You could, for the company, you
Yeah, yeah.
could like, and it puts like the date. I was gifted that, and I was like, oh. And then I was cleaning out the house, and I found the date that the prior supply, right before me, their date in a picture, and I was like, and I
Same
should.
stars, same picture.
Well, it was like a different picture,
Yeah, yeah.
different date, different whatever. And I about had a fit. Probably the same fit she had with the, because it was like an indicator. Like I was like, huh, you know. And at the time, he had an assistant again who was another friend of mine, and I called her, and she was like, ooh. We were like, ooh, so that's not good. I threw out both of them. I threw out mine and his because I was like, the cool thing about me is I take no fucking shit. Thank God. I was like, garbage dump. But I didn't do enough. Like I should have left, really. But
Yeah, but
I
you don't know. You can't say you should have or could have or did, honestly, because they're so good at what they do. Like, I'm sure he had some excuse for it. I mean, I'm
yeah,
sure, right? Like, oh, like it fell out of the sky, or I don't know, it was my brother's, or like, I don't know where that
he said
came from.
she gifted it. He said she gifted it, but that
But
wasn't true.
my point is that you can never be hard on yourself when you're going through this, because they're so good at what they do. And if you come from, and I always say this to you, if you come from a place of kindness, empathy, and compassion and love, you are always going to, come from that place. You're coming from a place opposite of who they are. So, they're,
This is right here, my beautiful Vanessa. This is my next to my desk. You come from love and kindness.
yep,
I have
it's
it right
true.
here because you
It's
try to
true.
teach me that, and I have to tell myself that because I always think I'm a wicked bitch. So I'm like, no.
Nope. Nope. Listen, you could be edgy, you can be strong, you can be all these other things, but at the end of the day, there's good, there's evil, there's, love, and there's hate. I mean, there's opposites of everything. So when somebody that's coming from a beautiful, pure place is now met with somebody who's doing the complete opposite, you're not seeing like all the other things that are going on as a bad, because you look for the good. You're always looking for the good in the other person, and if they do something, you give somebody the benefit of the doubt. You're like, oh, like this or that. And but like I said, I learned, if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's a friggin' duck. And guess what, unless you prove me wrong, no more excuses. No
Wait
more.
about this. If it looks like a fuck and acts like a fuck, it's a fuck.
Okay, I'll take
Fuck.
it. That's V1's version.
Yeah. If it looks like a motherfucker and acts like a motherfucker, it's a motherfucker. All right. So what else love bombing might include? I suppose like lying about their relationship with their children.
Or their prior relationships, how everyone's
Mhm.
crazy. Everyone's crazy. Like, oh, everyone that they've ever had, wives, ex-girlfriends, ex-fiancés, people that they couldn't be in a relationship because they're not in a good place. And then you step out, you're like, right, it was all of us. It was all
Right.
a dream.
When they're not in a good place, they happen to be in a relationship with like their spouse for like 6 years.
Yep. And who's been dating for 4 years, and this one's dating for that one, and people are just like all happy and healthy, and they're not crazy like everyone's saying, like, oh, this one's crazy. Everyone's always crazy, like, and I've learned along the way, like, not to be judgmental. And I've never really been judgmental about people, and I've never taken what people say about people for face value until I actually like experience it. I've pretty much been like that my whole life, and I'll just listen to what people say, and I kind of come up with my own conclusion. But in my eyes, the people that were standing in front of me were the ones that had shortcomings and were coming from a bad place and were crazy and were all this stuff that when I eventually, or if I did eventually meet people that were spoken about, they were amazing freaking people. Like, I posted something today about someone that you met for 2 months, could give you things that somebody you've known for 2 years can't even, couldn't even get there. So, it really is all about giving, like, really getting to know who people are, and I've learned when people start talking all the time about everyone, they're the problem. Like, I'm sorry, like, that's just how I feel. Like, I feel like when someone sits there and is going to talk to me about everyone under the sun and everyone else is flawed but them, something's not right.
I used to get confused though because like definitely after my 2 last relationships, I got really, really, really destabilized because I was thinking to myself, it's got to be me. It's got to be me. I definitely, clearly, like it was really confusing. And then, all of the high school friends disappeared. And I thought, oh my God. And like the circle was like, like, and I was like, like I basically like everyone's crazy but me. It's like if I saw a UFO or I saw Jesus Christ walk on water and I was trying to express that to people and I found myself wicked isolated and it became really, really hard to find validation and understanding. And that's why I feel I have you and I have all of the other, even clients will validate me all the time. And like, the clubhouse that we're going to do at 7:00, all of the rooms that we get involved in and all of the psychiatrists and doctors and therapists and life coaches that have been narcissistically abused by parents, bosses, siblings, intimate partners. And I just feel like, okay, thank God I like could feel like I'm just in a tribe at this point. And so, also if you feel like you're alone, you're really not. It's just, it feels like, and I can't believe you did, what you had gone through for such a long period of time without.
I don't know. I honestly don't. I mean, this is why it's such like, it's a mission of mine. Like, that's why I'm on a mission to like help people because, if I can cut down the time for them in half, like, so be it. Like, I don't even know what I just don't. I can't even answer that question. If I could win like millions and millions of dollars, I don't even know how I could answer that because I just don't know. I guess maybe I was just going through the journey because I knew one day that I'd have to do this and help people.
I know the
answer.
You love your daughter.
True. I do. No, yeah,
I
she
figure it
actually,
out. So she was like every day, she was a reason for you to stay, in the game.
but I never realized it as I was going through it though. Like when I was going through, like I learned that probably a few years ago when I thought about it. I was like, wow, she really like was the reason, like subconsciously somewhere within my body, like that's what was always kept me going. Like if it wasn't at the time something I thought of, like I didn't think like, oh, she's the reason why I'm strong. She's like it was never there. If that makes any sense. It's so weird. I did want to protect her and I did want to make sure that she was in a good place, and I did everything in my power. It was the only thing I was looking at. Um but when you think about it, like, and I say this, and this is why I say this every single time to everybody that I speak to about it, surround yourself with people who've been through it. Like I want to start advocating for, having people hold space for people. Like you don't always have to fix what people are telling you. Like people are going through what they're going through. They're going through their pains. They're going through their joys. They're going through their ups, their downs, whatever it is. If it's a trauma or a pain or a hurt, sit there, hold space, and listen. Like listen and just say like, I hear you. Like I hear what you're saying. I
Believe you.
I believe you. I'm here for you. Like,
You're
you
not
don't,
crazy.
right. You don't have to fix it for somebody, even if
No.
it seems like, and I've always thought this too, like feelings are very personal. So people feel the way they feel, and you may not feel the same way, or you may not agree with the way they feel, but guess what? That's their feelings, and you need to respect them no matter what. So it's like, I know that when people come to me for years, I always felt like, oh God, I have to help them. I have to like fix them. But I finally realized like, no, sometimes you just need to either celebrate what they're excited about and just let them know like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. Like, let's celebrate. Like, that was amazing. And if they're not in a good place and they're in a bad place, just listen to what they say. I hear you. I believe you. How can I help you? Like, what can I do to, you know, don't blow it off like, oh God, you're telling me this again. Yeah, they're telling you that again because they need to say it.
Right.
And
And it's a lot to process. So it takes time, sort of like I find 85% of my clients heal themselves as they're saying things out loud. They're connecting dots. And they're like, oh, because it's like you need to orate. I will talk to the fucking gas station attendant if they'll listen to me, because I'm just like, hang on, buddy, because I need to fucking process. I don't have time to sit up. Like I'm like I'm hungry for like answers, like curious, like I want to know, what does this mean? And so I'll talk to myself,
right.
the dog, journal, whatever.
Yep.
Because I have to know. And thank God for my friends. Thank God for you that I could just fucking like hit the ground running and just be like,
I agree. Listen, and you know what? Honestly, I even said this to you the other day. Even if I didn't go through this experience, just compassion for people,
right.
empathy. I don't know, someone's breaking down in front of you, telling you these stories that sound like they are from a movie. I've heard that a million times. Like, this sounds like a movie. Yeah. Well, guess what? My life was a movie. It was a dream that turned into a nightmare. Yep. That's what I lived. Like, welcome to my world. Like, sorry, can't sugarcoat it. That's what it is, and it's like, how do you not try to be there and lift someone up? Like, I can't wrap my head around it, and I never want to, because
Who is going to play you in the movie? That's the most important question.
Oh God, I don't know. We were talking about that today. I don't know.
I wish that Elizabeth Shue were a little younger, because she's my fave, but
do you think anyone's going to be able to play us as well? Like, we have a lot of stuff to unpack here.
Wait, what does Elizabeth Shue even look like now? Maybe she still can fucking pull it off, because I'm old as dirt. Let's check her out.
Oh yeah.
But the other thing I was going to say, this is interesting. So I have, every once in a while, I will have, maybe let's call her. I will have moments where I will need someone to hold space, but my friends generally will hold space. My brother is not particularly good at it. So like when I call him and I have something that I need to share with him, because let's say it's about my dad. My father died when I was 18, and it was really hard because then I was left with her. And I don't really care if she sees this because that was really fucking hard. But I actually have to say to him, like, I'm going to tell you something and I'm going to need you to not steal this moment. Like, could you just hold like your tongue for a minute? Because I'm going to talk about dad. Like the minute I'm like, oh, I just thought of dad. He's like, oh my God. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, I want to just talk about dad for a second. And I wanted to call him today. I wanted to call my father. Now, my father died when I was 18, literally a lifetime ago. And I wanted to tell him that, like, you would be so proud of me, Dad. I'm really doing like important things. And I could feel it. Like I was ready. So I called my brother and I said, I'm going to tell you something, but you know, I need you to shut the fuck up. And I did it the other day too. So maybe my dad is talking to me because the other day, I'm running, right? I'm training for this run and I see a Maserati. And I'm like, oh, that's an arc, right? That's what I was thinking.
Of course you did.
Yeah. And I remember when I was a kid, my father always had my father was like a handy motherfucker. So he always had a truck. So when I was a kid, I wanted an IROC. It was like, you know, every kid on earth wanted an IROC. So I was like, oh, like every time I would see it come out like a blue IROC, I was like, oh my God, like I really. So I remember I said that to my father. I was like, oh, whatever. And he goes, yeah, but can I go on the beach? And for some reason, it always stayed with me like, yeah, can I go on the beach? So I saw the Maserati and I was like, yeah, but can I go on the beach? And I was like, Dad, yes, fuck that. Because I got the Jeep and I was like, fucking A, dude, that fucking car is garbage. And it made me take my power back. And it sounds really stupid, but like I felt like connected to my dad. I felt connected to the woman that I was before I met this narcissist who has all these fancy garbage cars. And it was really nice for me to like, you know, like feel like that like tough girl again or whatever. I don't know. It was I connected with my dad and like, but it was really, I really needed my brother to hold space. And I was like, sometimes you have to tell people like, I don't need your advice right now. I just need you to shut the fuck up. Do you know what I mean?
But that's why I think it's so important, like, you know, bringing awareness, like when we talk about like making people aware of like narcissistic abuse, like, you know, it's not just for the people that are going through it, because half the time people don't even know they're going through it, but it's also for the people around them, like their loved ones, their friends, you know, their families, like, because when they do come to you, like it sounds crazy because the stories are crazy. They are crazy because it's not something that we should be seeing in everyday life. But it's their truth. They're living this. They're not crazy. The situation's crazy. Yeah, I'll admit that. But we need to.
It's the truth. That's the thing. That's the difference between us and a narcissist is the truth. That word is defines the whole fucking thing. And I have this bracelet that says live your truth. And every day I just refuse. Like that's the difference between, remember I was telling you, I got confused and I was thinking I was the narcissist. And the only reason why I figured out I wasn't was because I don't lie. Or I mean, like everybody lies, but like I don't like make it my business to confuse people with lies and just so lies. That's the truth. You have to live in truth.
Yeah, it's 100%. I mean, you know, that's the thing. Like people just don't get it because they can't understand what you've been through. They can't understand. I mean, I was very blessed. I was very blessed when I went through what I went through. My family and friends, even though nobody ever even knew what the hell it was, they supported me. They were a good support, like with their love and like listening to me and holding space. You know, and sometimes people would say, but you're so amazing. He loved you, like, because they couldn't comprehend that this person didn't love me. And eventually I had to start like kind of getting stern. And I remember like saying to them, no, he never loved me. Like, I know that's hard for you to process. I know that, you know, it may be something that you will never process, but he never did. And I'm okay with it. Like so when I got to that point, I had to keep reiterating it because I didn't want to fall back, because that's when my healing began. That's when I realized I could heal, because now I knew this person never loved me. They never, all the stuff that happened was all a lie. It was all a dream. Like it was all make believe, like not reality. So that when, I always ask why did this happen? Why was he like this? Why did he do that? How could he do that? It all came down to one simple answer. He never loved me. He's not capable of love. Like, so when you put that in your mind, and I tell clients this all the time, or anybody that comes to me with this, like, write down all the things that you think in your brain about, like, why this, why that, and just draw a line, like you're adding it all up, and just write, they never loved me. They aren't capable of love. Because at the end of the day, that's the answer. It has nothing to even do with you. It has nothing. Like, we all blame ourselves, and I blame myself for a while. And really, that's the healing moment, when you can actually stay there and say, like, I'm okay with it. That's it was what it was. Like, I can't change it. I can't make him love me. I can't make him care about me. I can't make him do any of that. And that's it. And then you have to walk away. And it's at that point you think to yourself, like, not even loving them more. Like, they can't even receive love. They can't give it. They can't receive it. They don't know what it is.
And they don't care.
Nope, they don't care. It's sad. It's really, like, I feel bad because there's so many people in this world that are in these relationships, even in work. And it's just like, you know what? If more people knew about it, they'd be able to stand up for themselves and know, like, they're not crazy. You know how many times people tell me things and then I'm like, oh, well, when you said this, and they're like, I didn't say that. And I'm like, yeah. And then I think, you know what? Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. Me with the excuses. I'm like, oh, maybe that's why. Like, I wasn't hearing it right. And then when you start thinking back and putting all pieces together, you're like, wait a minute. Like, no, he did say that, and he said this, and this didn't make sense, and I was right. And so it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. So I'm so blessed to be taking this journey with you and healing along the way. And so let's go to Clubhouse. What do you say? This was a good
I'm
sort
excited.
of first time to get started with this. And this is just going to go on the YouTube, so I'll share it with you, and then we can kind of talk about what we liked and didn't like and stuff like that, and get some stronger topics and stuff like that. But I just wanted to kind of play with it, see what it looks like on YouTube, because generally I do this on the Facebook Live.
I like this better, actually.
It's actually,
I don't know why.
YouTube, apparently, when you post on YouTube something longer than 10 minutes, for some reason, it gets more play. Okay. I've done some research on that. So this is not a bad way to kind of, and then you can share it. So you can copy the link and post it on Facebook anyway. But let's head to Clubhouse.
All right. I'll see you there.
Right there. Okay.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.